Claude just dropped a huge update that changes how you interact with it day to day, and Nvidia just released a brand new AI agent model called Nemotron 3 Super that's doing some serious work, so let's get into it. So Anthropic just quietly rolled out something in Claude that a lot of people are going to find genuinely useful, and it's called custom visuals. It's in beta right now, available to all Claude users on web and desktop, and the basic idea is this. Instead of Claude just responding with a wall of text, it can now build charts, diagrams, and interactive visuals right inside the conversation. And what I want to make clear here is that this isn't Claude pulling up some image from the internet. It's not generating a photo. Claude is actually building these things from scratch. It uses HTML under the hood, so the outputs are interactive. We're talking sliders, buttons, clickable elements, things you can actually play with. It's less like a screenshot and more like a tiny web app that appears mid-conversation. The way it works is pretty seamless. You don't have to toggle anything on or configure anything. Claude just decides when a visual would do a better job than text and builds one. But you can also ask for it directly. Say something like, show me how this works as a diagram, or chart this data, or just give me a side-by-side comparison and it'll go ahead and make it. So if you upload a CSV file and ask what the data shows, Claude will generate an interactive chart. If you're trying to understand a complex process, it'll build you a flowchart. If you're weighing two options, it'll lay them out side by side. It's surprisingly capable for something that just launched. Now here's something worth knowing. These visuals are temporary by default. They live in the conversation in the moment, but they don't get saved automatically. Anthropic actually describes them as more like a whiteboard sketch than a finished file, which I think is a good way to put it. They're meant to help you think through something in the moment, but if you do want to hold on to one, you got a few options. You can copy it as an image, download it as an SVG or HTML file, or convert it into an artifact, which is Claude's more permanent format that you can share and keep working on. A couple of practical tips. If you want to get the most out of this, first, just ask for it. If Claude gives you text when you wanted a visual, just rephrase, draw this as a diagram, chart this for me, something like that. Second, Anthropic themselves says that Opus, their most capable model, performs the best on visualization tasks. So if you're going for something complex, that's the one to use. And third, you can personalize it. If you tell Claude you want all your visualizations in a certain style or color, it'll actually remember that going forward. One limitation to note about custom visuals is that they don't work on the mobile apps yet. So what I'm going to do now is actually test this new format out, and I want to see for myself how it works. This is my first time as well, so you guys are going to see my reaction live. So what I have right now is a McKinsey report about the state of AI in 2025. And everybody knows consultants use charts and visualization the most, probably out of all the industries, especially in work environments. I want to see, like, obviously, maybe I don't expect the charts to be this good or the interactive elements to be like at that consulting level yet. But I'm going to take this source, and I've given the data source to Claude, and I'm asking it to make a visualization for me based on 3 key data points. I know my prompt is very broad, but let's see how good this is going to be. So I'm just going to press enter. Okay, so we can see that it got 3 data points. First one, the AI adoption breadth, 88% using AI in at least one function. Scaling gap, only 33% have scaled, 62% still experimenting. Workforce impact and everything like that, 32 expected reduction. And what you're seeing right now is the visualization feature in action. So we have our charts at the moment ready to go. Number one, I am genuinely impressed. This was pretty fast. I thought it would take a long time. As I mentioned, these are HTML features, so they are actually interactive. So we can see that over here, like chart 1, AI adoption breadth, 78%, 88%. Where orgs stand on scaling AI. For example, this one, 33% are scaling, 29%. So these are professional looking. They don't look too wonky, everything like that. Decrease, headcount decreases. I like how it color coded like decrease red, meaning things like that. No change as gray. So there is some sort of logic being applied as well. So we can see we have these 3 visualizations. What I can do right now is you can see that I can copy this to my clipboard, download the file, or save as artifact. So let me just download the file, see what happens. So when I open it up, this is what it looks like in HTML. I open up an HTML file. So this is what it would look like if you wanted to do that. And if I wanted to use this for later on, I can save it as an artifact. So I can see save this visual from earlier as an artifact, McKinsey AI Adoption 2025. So it's going to do that right now. All right, and you can see our artifact is over here, saved here. So I'll have always access to this no matter what. So if you're somebody that has a white collar job or somebody that likes visualizing data, as I said, like I just took like McKinsey's chart and I didn't do much, but like you can customize this, go further with it, give it your own personal template and everything like that. So this, I think, is a huge feature, especially for day-to-day use, especially in the work environment and for enterprises. So Claude, I think it keeps on winning. So Nvidia just dropped something today, and I think a lot of people are going to sleep on it, and I don't want you to be one of them. It's called Nemotron 3 Super, and the architecture behind it is pretty interesting. Let me start with the number that sounds the most confusing because once you get it, everything else makes sense. The model has 120 billion active parameters, but only 12 billion of those are actually doing work at any given moment. That's the mixture of experts thing. Instead of running the full model on every single query, it routes each task to a small group of specialist subnetworks, so you get the knowledge of a 120 billion parameter model with the compute cost closer to a 12 billion one. That's the whole trick, and it's a good one. Now the architecture itself is a hybrid. It combines Mamba layers and transformer layers together, which is still pretty rare to see in a production model. The Mamba layers are doing the heavy lifting on memory and compute efficiency, cutting those costs by up to about 4 times. The transformer layers are handling the deeper reasoning. And on top of that, there's something called latent MOE, which is a newer technique where it actually activates 4 specialist experts for the price of 1 when generating each token. It also does multi-token prediction, meaning it's predicting multiple words at once rather than one at a time, which pushes inference speed up to 3 times faster. Stack all of that together, and you get up to 5 times higher throughput compared to the previous Nemotron model. The context window is also 1 million tokens, which puts it in the same conversation as Gemini and the longer context OpenAI models. And Nvidia is specifically positioning this for agentic AI, meaning systems where AI is running multi-step workflows autonomously rather than just answering one question at a time. The reason context length matters so much for agents is that these workflows generate a huge amount of tokens just from all the back and forth tool calls, histories, and reasoning steps. Losing track of earlier context mid-task is a real problem, and a million token window basically eliminates that issue for most use cases. One thing I personally found pretty interesting, you can actually configure how much reasoning the model does per query. You can tell it to go full thinking mode, dial it back to low effort, or turn reasoning off entirely. So if you're running something that doesn't need a deep chain of thought, you're not wasting compute on it. That's a nice bit of flexibility that most models don't give you directly. It was also trained from scratch in NVP4 precision on Blackwell hardware, which Nvidia says gives you up to 4 times faster inference compared to FP8 on their older Hopper chips. First time they've done this for a new model family. And it's fully open. Open weights, open training data, open recipes. They're publishing the full methodology, including over 10 trillion tokens of training data and 15 reinforcement learning environments. It scores an 83 on the openness index, which is about as transparent as any major lab has been with a model this size. It's already live on Hugging Face, OpenRouter, Deep Infra, Lightning AI, and a bunch of other inference providers with Google Cloud, AWS, and Azure all coming soon. Speed-wise, some providers are reporting up to 484 tokens per second, which is pretty fast. The honest takeaway here is that Nvidia isn't trying to win a parameter count race. They're trying to win with the efficiency race, and that's arguably the most useful thing to win, especially for the enterprise and agentic use cases they're clearly targeting. Worth checking out if you haven't already. But that's it for today's video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, follow the world of AI, and don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. We post constantly and you don't want to miss this. I'll see you guys in the next one.